Call the Board of Works meeting to order. Phyllis, can we have a roll call, please?
Greg Koshaw.
Here.
Bill Carbach.
Here.
Ken Meyer.
Here. You were emailed a copy of our minutes from our October 3rd meeting. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, the same. Thank you. First thing we have would be accepting a salt bid for 2018.
Did you do the executive and the special?
Okay. We had an executive and a special meeting last Thursday, and did they get a copy of those? You got copies of those? Okay. We'd like to make a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved. Second.
Is the motion for both meetings? Yes?
Here.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. Thank you, Phyllis. Now, the salt bids, do you have those? Okay. Jeremy took them under advisement, I think, best he could, and everything was good with them, so we need to accept one for softener and one for street salt. For softening salt, we had two bids. RBS Inc. DBA Graham Feed Company was $115.65 a ton. Morton Salt was $141.11 a ton, making RBS Graham Feed Company the lesser of the two at $115.65. If I could have a motion to approve the RBS Graham Feed.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion and a second to approve RBS Graham Feed Company for our water softening salt at $115.65 a ton. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Then we have our street salt, and we had four bidders. There was Cargill, Detroit Salt, Compass Minerals, and Morton. Of the four, they were all within $7 of each other per ton. However, Morton is the lowest at $59.29, and like I said, Jeremy's reviewed it. What did we pay this year, Jeremy, you know? Any idea what we paid?
About $4 or $5 more.
Oh, we got it right here. This is $64.31, so it's about $5 less. So if I have a motion to approve Morton at $59.29 a ton for our street salt for 2018.
I'll make a motion to approve Morton Salt at $59.29 for 2018.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. So now we've got our street salt taken care of and our softener salt for 2018. Next, I think we have Mr. and Mrs. Lehrman here, correct? Yeah. I think that you were tagged and you have some work that you're doing on your property.
Yeah, the first one we ended up receiving, it was on, we received this one this morning.
Yeah, Bill's got copies of those.
Yeah, I've got it.
And I had stopped in here and talked to Bill and told him we were going to get to it until September, the middle of September, because at that time we were working on a roof.
Mhm.
And we did.
They're all the
because
same,
the minute,
yeah.
when we were there that week, the following
one.
Saturday,
Phyllis.
we received this final notice.
Yeah, notice the first one was issued by Bill Carbach, and the second one was issued by Kurt Woody.
Yes, and it was like after we'd been there working on it for a week, yeah, we received this. And yes, we have been working on it, but prior to that, we haven't, for the fact is there was water issue on the property next to us.
That's on the side that this is on. And
Pictures of it.
so you talked to me that one day in here,
Yeah. And here, and since then, they had...
they put in a storm sewer
But the
break.
thing is, yeah, it's a big hole there. You're sliding down it, and it just...
Where is that? Is that on your property, or is that in an easement, or
That is on the
what?
property, yeah. It's on the property next to us, yeah, they did that. But this is what they did at the end of the alley. They had fixed that.
What, they tore it out and then had to repair it, you mean?
That was
That's a
at
patch?
the end because there was water issues going on around there. And here's that end where that drain is, from that point to the south end.
So this drain is in this alley here?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not on your property, it's in the alley.
That is on the alley. This is in our property
Okay.
at the end. Well, here, there's the water.
Yep.
There it is.
So that's been
covered.
taken care of now because they put in the storm sewer?
Yeah, we were waiting on that, you know,
When did they put the storm sewer in?
this summer.
Pardon?
This
This summer?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, long story short, I mean, what's your plan as for when...
Okay, and that's what he's been doing.
I truthfully, let me clear something up. Do you own the property?
Yeah.
You do?
Mhm.
And it's in your name on the tax records?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yours and your husband's, or, okay.
And then the second thing is, they put the drainage in the alley. You have to put dirt in your property to get the water to run into that drain? You're aware of that?
No.
Well,
Do you need dirt in there?
Yeah, you,
Yeah,
You'd mentioned
we
that
weren't
to
aware.
me.
You see, in the past, we've never had that issue. Water never went down on that end. It went to the house next to us, which was, the lot was sold to a Habitat house was put in there.
And
And
they
they had
built-
brought in a whole bunch of dirt.
they build it up, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And they're allowed to do that,
okay.
okay? I mean,
Well, do you need some dirt on the one side of your home?
no, we're fine.
I mean, if you, yeah, I was gonna say, if you did, we could likely dump you some in there, but you'd have to spread it.
Problem with the crawl space in the house that we have, it's actually lower than the outside dirt is. So the more dirt is brought in, the more it's going to want to force it underneath our house. So no, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
But now that the drain is fixed in the alley, yeah, we've eliminated that problem there.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have been working on it. We've been putting,
Okay,
we had a roofing job we had to do before this.
okay. So you just need an extension, you just need more time to get it done.
And I called Bill regarding this, but I haven't had a response from you after
Well,
I left the message.
only because when I was notified, when you called, you had already talked to the mayor, and he'd already set a meeting up at
Yeah.
Fort Worth.
Okay.
So there's no, I
Okay.
mean, there was no,
So,
let me give everybody a little history of the home at Kikianda. We had a couple complaints of critters, and I told you this, running in and out of your house,
squirrels.
squirrels, or they didn't tell me which kind of animal.
Hmm,
And I thought there were some coons too.
yeah.
So anyway, I told the neighbors, the only way as a city we can take care of this is to issue a dangerous or dilapidated building to the owner, and was what I did. And then when you came in and talked to Kurt and talked to me, I was here, you indicated that you wanted to fix the residence up. And Kurt informed you that you would need permits to do this, because you were going to do electrical, plumbing.
No, we don't need to do electrical or plumbing.
Well,
That's
Kurt,
what he said, yeah.
what she was going to.
Yeah, he didn't need to do that, yeah.
being, she was going to do cosmetics.
So,
can't hear you.
Eventually, she was going to do electrical, mechanical, plumbing, but for the time being, it was going to be cosmetics. And the reason the last letter went out was because it's been 45 days since I've heard from you. The last time you came to the office, or you called in and asked for an extension, I gave you that extension. I haven't heard from you since. So that's why the last letter that said final notice went out.
And that's
And
what
when
we
you,
were doing,
when
was
you came to
working
the
down.
office the first time you got the letter, I told you, if you stay in communication with me, I will give you extensions as you need. But we need to see a forward progress on this.
Yeah, truthfully, we're not seeing anything happen.
And
Okay.
that's why you got the letter.
When was that
I have
taken?
Pictures. This was taken last night.
Last night?
Yeah, and that's what, because he works that late with, by the time he gets off, we've been putting fascia, soffit, and then the siding.
I can be honest with you, I've not been down there lately, only because I haven't needed to.
Let me see that picture again.
You promised me that you would take care of the critter situation.
And we,
I informed the neighbor that stopped me to talk to me, that you were doing that and you were working on the
Which is
facility,
this?
and I told him it may take time, which you indicated it is, and I told him that we're working with you to get it done.
and the two people that did complain, they approached me and wanted to buy my
Well,
house.
there was one,
Yeah.
I believe, that complained, I was working on Friday hanging siding, and he came over and the first thing he asked me was, how many raccoons did you catch in the house?
Oh,
And I said, none.
good.
I put traps in there a month and a half ago, expecting to get something. They didn't even trip the trap. So it was obviously what he saw was a mother that had worked her way up into the soffit, had her family in there. They grew up, they are gone.
Good.
So thank God, I only have one, and all the soffit is sealed up now. They can't get back in. So he knows it. He had to have been one of them that said something.
Well,
This side of the house, okay?
Yeah,
Is that,
That's the next issue that.
Yeah.
okay, that's not where you've been working, that's
Yeah.
where you're going.
We wanted to
So
close
far
it up,
as
yeah.
all the soffit, yeah, we closed all the soffit up because that's where they got in at.
Okay,
was
up in the soffit.
So, yeah,
Okay.
that's what's next.
How much more time do you need, and then after we grant that, then just kind of keep in touch with Kurt, give him your card, Kurt, so they can have your number, and yeah, it won't be a problem.
As long as you keep in communication with me, because if I don't hear from you for X amount of weeks, then we're gonna start the process all over again, and I'm gonna start issuing letters.
and I will point,
Well, the whole issue is what? Just getting the siding done? Is that the issue?
You know, I think
The critter's the issue.
I think the critters were,
That's done.
Yeah.
Now, if siding is gonna be the issue,
no,
then we can open up a whole big ball of wax with a lot of houses in town.
I agree,
got that right.
I agree.
So, you know,
I
I
agree
don't
there.
think we want to get into that.
No.
If critters is your thing,
Yep.
that's over.
Okay.
that was the neighbor's things, and that's what brought me out there.
Get
So,
pictures.
Well,
Okay.
even that's a bother, but yeah, I don't want critters in my house either, because within a year, and there's a lot of things we want to do in this house, but within a year, that's where I'm going to live.
good, good.
That's the intention.
And that's the thing, he was trying to
This is
figure
an
out what
issue.
to do, yeah.
This is a bearing wall, okay? It's open to the weather. It's gonna start rotting. This is an issue. This siding is an issue here.
That's our next issue.
It needs to be covered up so that you don't get any more damage.
Right.
What's already done.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that concerned us as a city is you've not had any water at the facility since 2010. So that's 7 years. So at what point, as a city, are we counting on this being a livable residence, if you know what I mean? And truthfully, I'm not picking on you. I didn't intend to pick on you.
I would hope not.
No,
No. Property tax.
exactly, and we appreciate that. But the only thing that concerned me is when the neighbors, and there was more than one,
Yeah.
started-
One of those neighbors wanted to buy the place.
Okay.
And when we said no,
that's,
I'm sure that got under his skin too. But,
Okay.
hey, who cares?
yeah.
Well, but on the other hand, too, that neighbor's got to live next to this.
Oh, absolutely. And as I say, I'm going to be living in there within the next year.
Right. So when are you going to put siding on?
So the only problem's going to be is, I hope this neighbor understands that we are in there working on it, because think he must have made a bad neighbor because he's going to have one in about
Yeah.
next year if he's not careful. So, yeah, I hope everybody just kind of smooths this over. And
My question is
I
when
can
do
get
you plan on putting the siding on the load-bearing wall?
Oh, that's got to be done before the snow flies.
Okay, so that's your plan?
My problem with getting it done any faster is I work between 11 and 12 hours a day at Fleetwood. And you know how much time there is after that. And, I'm not going to go out and borrow a bunch of money at 55 years old and hang siding. It's not going to happen.
Well, we'll definitely, like Kurt just pointed out, we'll definitely work with you. If you need more time,
Yeah,
just keep
all we can ask for right
keep
now.
in touch with Kurt so that we know kind of your time frame also.
I want to get that one before snow flies.
Okay.
I don't
That's
like
good.
hanging siding on my fingers and freezing.
Well, and to tell you the truth, we appreciate cooperation, and we see that you are cooperating, so we're fine with that
It's all
also.
about our property, so we don't want to make it
Okay.
either.
Good.
Thanks for coming out and staying on communication.
We got a lot
Yep.
on your plate.
Yep, all righty. Okay, Kurt just walked out of the room. He had the next thing, so... Greg, you want to go next? Hmm? Hold on, Greg. Now he goes back out.
He's trying to catch them before they leave.
Oh, is he? Greg, come on, let's go. You and Mike. So, everybody knows we had 2 police officers recently. Mike, you want to get that microphone and bring up there, and that way you can sound good when you talk. You got turned on too. Push and hold. There's instructions on it. If you put your glasses on.
Is it on?
Yeah, it's on. We're down immediately 2 police officers here as of a couple of weeks ago. And we were already down 1 before that, basically, so we have met and kind of tried to spring into action to get somebody on staff as soon as possible.
We have applications out, and we're taking those till close to the end of the month.
Right. And I know you have some good applicants and whatever. However, there is a young man that was a finalist with us a few years ago.
Correct?
Then he was hired by the county,
Correct.
served 2 years
2 years
as
there.
a deputy sheriff with the county,
Yes,
and then left the county to become an officer at Byrne.
correct, since January.
Yep, yeah, he's just been down at Byrne since January, and ultimately he still would like to be on our staff.
Yes.
So, young man's already been to the academy by way of the county when he worked for them 2 years ago.
Yes.
And his name, go ahead and tell us about him a little bit. I think I emailed the Board of Works about him a little bit.
You don't need me up there. No, his name is Joel Jackson, very good candidate. He has a degree in, let's see, he has a minor in applied science and a BA in business with IT management. So he's pretty IT literate. Like I said, he's been in Byrne now since January. He's very interested in coming to Decatur and living in Decatur. His wife is going to school at Lutheran Nursing School. Excuse me. And he'd like to find someplace central for his wife, and of course he always wants to stay in law enforcement. He's interested in Decatur. He's expressed that to me, and I know we've heard that before, but he knows about the contract. He's a very, very nice individual. I think he would make a great fit for Decatur. He's already been to the academy. I believe he won't even have to take a physical, will he?
I believe if he gets in before the year, we'll be all right with that.
If before he has a year on, because he's already taken one through Byrne. And he will transfer through PERT. Everything will simply kind of slide over. If he would accept
So-
that recommendation.
He knew we were looking, he
Yes.
applied.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had an awesome councilman chewing out thinking we were stealing officers.
Well, I realize that. I realize that.
That's kind of the name of the game right now, unfortunately, in the
And
law
quite
enforcement
honestly, as a
business.
chief, I feel as bad about it as they do, really. But it's not up to us, it's up to the individuals who's applying to the department. If we don't get them, somebody else will, so that's the way you have to kind of look at it.
So since any police hire as a patrolman needs to be approved through the Board of Works, you are coming to us this evening.
To ask your permission to hire. Joel.
How soon could he start?
I think the way he talks, he wants to be,
A couple weeks.
yeah, at least with
Burn.
So, and I also advised him, if he was chosen, that we would try to work with the burn chief down there in case they need him for something, and we could work out those dates.
Okay.
I think that was...
Discussion?
Nope,
I know you've always kind of been high on the lateral moves.
I think that's the only way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're
If
doing it
available.
to us, if people are doing it to us, so we need a motion. We need a motion. Yeah, I make a motion to accept Greg's recommendation to hire
Tim, we okay here?
Joel Jackson?
Joel Jackson.
We got a motion and a second to proceed with offering Joel Jackson the hire as a patrolman. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike. Is 224 open?
Matt,
24
I may
hours?
point out to you that I talked to the police chief in Columbia City,
224?
and he's never hired a police officer that he had to send to the academy. All laterals.
Do you want to go ahead and approve it?
So,
Then,
They pay higher too.
and then you guys
yeah, they do.
sign that.
They're higher paid.
Okay. While we're talking police, I have the...
Arnold took a pay cut from Ossian to come here. So that tells you he wanted to work for us.
You know, the guys that are in the little small towns like that, not that we have a ton of excitement, but they don't have any. It's really pretty boring being a police officer in those small towns. Now, it only takes one good crime, and they wouldn't feel that way, but... while we're talking law enforcement, I have certificate of appointment for Kevin Gerber, who was appointed sergeant by the Board of Works last week. Would like to make this appointment a matter of record and have your signatures on it.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. And if you both would sign, there's 2 copies. I'll pass them back down to Phyllis. Okay. Kurt? Kurt, still not in here, okay. How about bid openings for our farm? We have 2 pieces of land that we lease out to farmers. One's on County Road 450 North, the other's on County Road 600. Before we do this, we probably should make it a matter of record that it was advertised.
To make a matter of record.
No, yes, go ahead.
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Second. You get that, Barb? Come on.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. If we can proceed with opening...
I know we counted 600. What's the other?
450.
North is our industrial park, sorry, out there by Diamond Ridge.
Just a little bit. Farm down there.
Yeah.
This one's the 450 North Farm,
For the farming on 450 North,
and that's 27.65 acres tillable.
27.65 tillable acres. Mr. Baker, I will let you do the honors
Did we
here.
make a motion to accept
bids?
the print?
Yeah, we did that.
Okay, that's what you did. That's what I did when I
We
was
accepted your
asleep.
second bill.
Because I saw it in the paper, so.
We have, looks like 3 bids.
Okay, first bid that's submitted is submitted by Dan Working, or Workinger Farms, Inc. It's $170.50 per acre, or $4,714.33 for 27.65 acres. It appears that half would be paid May 10th, half would be paid November 10th.
It was 175.50, so you said.
170.50.
170.50. Second bid for County Road 450 farming.
Second bid is submitted by Brent Buchanan, Decatur, and it's a bid of $196 per acre.
Okay. And the third and final one for the County Road 450 farm.
Last bid is submitted by Kim Frichty of Frichty Farms. They're bidding $245 per acre, or a total of $6,774.25.
Phyllis, did you tally those?
No.
I would make a motion that we take those under recommendation
Advisement?
or advice.
We can probably just...
You can
I mean-
accept the high bid.
Why should nobody do
You
that?
can accept the
We-
high bid.
You do.
It's the high bid, I understand. You can do that if you want to. How many more
There's no
bids you
reason- I
got?
think we always have in the past when it comes to this.
Yeah.
Take it under advisement? Or
We
just
accept the high bid.
Accept the highway.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Never
write
mind.
it down. Which one was the
I
high?
was-
Don't second it.
It was Kim Frichty.
Frichty was the high on that one?
Frichty was $245 an acre.
Okay. So you're making a motion?
Is there another farm bid that we got?
Yeah, we'll do this, do them separate,
We'll do them separate.
because it may be, maybe
They
somebody
may,
different
no,
on that.
may bid again, or the other ones might bid on these too. What's wrong?
Yeah, I guess.
I like to wait to hear all the bids before I...
Well, no, this is for one farm.
Oh, I know.
The other farm may be a totally different set of bidders.
Okay. Yeah.
We advertised it as two, we didn't advertise it as a combined, it's two separate, we advertised two
I'll
separate.
make a motion that we accept the highest bid, which is $245 by Kim Frichty per acre.
Okay. Second. Motion and a second to accept Frichty on the farming on the one at County Road 450. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same?
Okay, this other one is on 600 North, which is city utility property where we're going to put our water utility improvements. So I do have that in the lease agreement. If something would happen during that time, we've added that to the lease agreement, that same as M450, if we ever do any development, we can,
We reserve the right to reduce the acreage.
and if we mess with their crops, we will
Pay them
the
back that
damages.
price per acre?
Yes.
Okay.
That is
650?
51.75 total.
600.
acres.
600 north.
County Road 600 North?
And there's only two bids for this one. First one,
How many acres did you say, I'm sorry?
0.75.
how many acres?
51.75.
Okay.
And the first one was 26.57,
27.65.
27.65. Okay. Okay, the first bid opened for the County Road 600 North Farm. Bid is submitted by Dan Workinger of Workinger Farms. Again, the price per acre is $170.50 per acre. For 51.75 acres, that totals $8,823.38 per year.
Second bid. For some reason, it's several pages long.
It's the actual
they-
farm lease.
They filled out the lease.
Yeah.
So you want to
Okay.
read the short version?
It'll just be on the top page there.
Okay, the second bid is submitted by Jeff Hockmeyer. And his bid is $160 per acre for 51.75 tillable acres, totaling $8,280 rent per year, plus tax.
Okay, so we had two bids, one from Workinger, $170.50,
Yeah.
and one from Hockemeyer, $160 an acre. So Workinger would be the higher of the two.
Is there any other bids?
Nope, just those two.
I'll make a motion that we
accept.
Accept the bid from Workinger at $170.50 per acre for 51.75 acres located on County Road 600 North.
And second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Thank you. That's that. Kurt?
Sir.
Waiting on you here. Kurt has been kind of informed by the state building inspector, state fire marshal's office, that he is to have a certified backup in case of his untimely demise or some disability or something like that.
Oh, you lucky duck.
And after a little consideration and discussion, go ahead, Kurt.
After talking with Mr. Les Markle back here and Mr. Tim Ballman, I've decided I'd like to have Tim Ballman as my backup. Tim and I have been working pretty close together with the state fire marshal's office on certain things. I've actually been attending classes with Tim up in South Bend, kind of learning his trade. He's pretty proficient when it comes to the code. So I feel if anybody is qualified, it would definitely be Tim. So at some point, we need to put him into our ordinance as our backup, as my backup.
Yeah.
That needs to be included in the ordinance itself?
It needs to be submitted to the state as
That-
well.
And what was the position going to be called, backup for?
Basically, it's backup or assistant building inspector or inspector, if we say.
And he's not going to be paid as such, he's going to keep his pay as the, what is his title over there? Is he an inspector? Fire inspector. Captain. And hopefully, he's never actually called upon, and,
Yeah, I'm hoping not either.
but for some reason, you know, now all of a sudden Roger's gone and the state wants us to have a backup, so.
Yeah, I don't know where this came from,
Yeah.
but I was hit up about this by the state fire marshal representative of Fort White.
So what do we need, a motion on that
Yeah,
one?
just a motion to make Tim Bauman, Kurt's official backup.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I would do a motion, and then, I guess I need to bring something to council then in terms of an ordinance amendment. So you and I need to get together, Kurt, and we'll figure out where to plug it in.
Yeah. And I was with the fire marshal representative today and told him we were going to bring it up to council tonight. And so he's aware of what's going on, so we're not under a time crunch to get paperwork done. But of course, we don't want to drag it on.
Don't tell Tim that.
I'll make a motion that we follow
Just slide down the list.
Kurt Whitty's recommendation to use Tim Bauman for his backup for assistant building inspector.
Second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you, Kurt.
Kurt, you guys your inspections if you're on vacation for a week. Is that going to be the
Sharon?
backup inspector?
He's going to be the backup.
So we will be used in some cases when you're...
In some cases, but I don't think we have to worry about that for a while, so. And I won't take a week's vacation time anyway, so. But in case we do need him, he'll be there. So when these calls and needs to go look at the hood system or something, he can go look at it. So and I'll have instructions for him if something comes up, he'll have instructions on what to do, how to handle it. So he'll have the checklist.
Very good. Thanks. Melissa, the alley just to the south of City Hall here, between Wood Wings and the Home Place, is an alley that we had earlier approved to make a pedestrian alley from 2nd Street back to the intersection of the other alleys. And I think, Melissa, you'd kind of asked me what we need to do to, she got the bollards to block it off, and we've already got some, I think, artwork underway for in there. So, Tim, what do we need to do to proceed? Do we need to change that on our street ordinances?
You're no longer going to use it for any vehicular traffic?
If Wood Wings is going to need to get in there to unload, okay, the bollard can come out, they can pull in and unload, but it's not going to be for through traffic anymore.
Okay, well, we need to, yeah, we'll need to amend the ordinance to reflect that that's no longer to be used by the public for
Vehicular traffic.
vehicular traffic, and it will be limited to
Pedestrian traffic.
pedestrian traffic only, unless some type of truck
Adjoining
delivery needs to
businesses.
be made to an adjoining business, and then that will be coordinated with the city to ensure protection of pedestrians.
Yes. Okay, so that's where we're at, Tim. Make a note of it. I could have just talked to you outside of this, I guess, on that one, but... Jeremy?
You don't need a motion from us or anything on that.
On that. Jeremy's got a few things. One that I got down here was you have a request to make an area no public parking and add it to our list of other parking lots ordinances that they fall under. It's back to health. Where's that located?
But South 11th Street.
Okay.
Tricia Boldemeyer contacted me yesterday they're having some issues during the day and even in the evenings.
It's a chiropractor, yeah.
Different people parking in there and then they're out of parking for their own people.
Where they go?
Everywhere, she said. Some of them's going to the Eagles, some of them's it's overflow from some of the other businesses along there.
Oh, so she just needs a sign?
She would like it
Oh.
added to the ordinance and a sign,
Yeah.
just like we've done in the past.
Yeah, for other...
But it takes a Board of Works approval to...
Yeah, I think we have a document we fill out.
A document
Yes,
for
we
her to
do.
fill out?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
But being that she called yesterday, I wanted to see if we can put it in front of Board of Works at this point, just for initial approval, we'll get everything filled out.
I don't have a problem with it.
And it doesn't require any ordinance amendment, it just requires her to fill out.
Her to fill it out, it gets added onto the ordinance, being that it's posted.
Okay, but do we need to add anything in the ordinance
I think
reflecting?
just the address is all we're putting on there, the location.
So we just need to amend our ordinance, adding this...
That's what I'm asking, do we need to do it?
I believe we have been. It's been a long time since we've done one, but I believe the last couple we have added them in there.
Okay, are there any others that,
Hey, Greg?
I have a list in my office of all the ones that have the signs. If you read that.
And
And I'm assuming with Bill's
no
letting
parking
her.
signs to the parking lot.
We don't have parking
They're
cars.
big ones. Were they ever added in the ordinance, or were they just after hours?
No, there was an ordinance.
I think there's an ordinance right on, it says the ordinance comes right on the sign.
Ordinance 22.
Yeah.
okay, but what I'm asking is, when that ordinance was adopted, okay, if somebody after that ordinance was adopted wants to have their parking lot regulated by that ordinance, do we then have to amend the ordinance to include that parcel or that address?
No.
I don't think we have to do it.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
They just, anybody that wanted to come on that had to sign, I don't remember about the agreement signing.
There's something
Okay.
that just gets filled out with the clerk treasurer?
Okay.
Okay, so I don't have to worry about doing an ordinance.
Under that particular ordinance.
Okay, that's all I need.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, tell her to go, if you can get her the form, have her get it filled out, we'll get her a sign. All right, that's that.
Greg, just curious,
Yes.
how do you enforce it?
Cite them. mean,
I understand,
citation.
do they call in? Do we don't go visit every one of these that
No, it could
we
be either
put-
way. It's like we handle any other ordinances. You know, they're there, and although we can enforce them, we usually don't to a point unless it becomes a problem.
Complaint,
Yeah.
so it's
and then
complaint
we-
driven?
Yes,
Okay.
pretty much. It's not to say that we haven't in the past, simply because we may have, say, a congregation area or something like that that we need to clear out, that they won't listen, so we'll just go in, maybe do a pass or whatever we can do. But for the most part, it's
Okay, that's kind of what I wanted.
Okay, Jeremy, I got a lot of things on here. Any one of them that you wanted to go next? Do you want to talk about the dump trailer?
Yeah, with our recycling program, we have made some strides over the last several months with the participation in the program. We would, talking with the supervisors and the guys that are collecting, we would like to purchase a dump trailer out of the sanitation department for the use of many different things, the cardboard, hauling some things to Hank, even actually doing some collection with the cardboard, possibly even hauling our glass away. It's proven in other communities it's been pretty useful. Hank comes around and gets our glass kind of whenever. We've had a lot of times where we've been out of room for glass, and we just need to kind of up our game a little bit on some of that. It's not solely just for recycling. We can also use it for other little projects.
How big and how much?
It's just a little tandem dump trailer. It's going to run right at $7,200. So I do have one quote so far. I do not have the second one. The one quote was from a local guy on 11th Street that sells trailers.
How much did you say, Jim?
$7,000.
It's right at $7,200.
Jeremy, at what point will we know how much we're spending, how much we're saving?
We got a pretty good idea right now. I will tell you that you're down on tonnages.
For trash?
Yeah, we do not have the over limits like we've had in the past, where you're only allowed the 6 bags per week. We used to have a whole list of those every route day. We're down to a couple a month, so there are a lot of people recycling.
And
we average about 500 stops. It's been a few months since we've checked it. We're averaging about 500, but I bet we're doing every bit of that at our drop-off site. The drop-off site is very hard to regulate how many people are coming in, but initially we were dumping the bins like once a week, then we went to twice a week, and now all the plastics is about every other day. The cardboard is about every 4 or 5 hours. The glass is about once a week. The aluminum cans are once a week. So we're bringing in a large amount. We have watched it several times with our own eyes. We've also watched it on our camera. We find very little from out-of-city people. The majority of the people that we see are in-town residents, are a lot of older residents that want to participate. They just don't want to carry their stuff out to the curb. Also, the same people feel that they can help themselves, and they bring it down. Larry Daniels is a perfect example. Larry's out every day. Larry's in there 2 or 3 times a week from the golf course. There's other people from the golf course. There's other people in different areas of the city that says, hey, we want to participate. We don't want to drive your cost up for your program. We don't want to overburden you guys. We can bring it in. There's individual bins for it. They take the time, they separate it out. It's great for them.
Are they separating it, Jeremy? Do we
Yeah,
get any?
they're
Do we
doing-
get any?
Different times you can tell when you get some new people in there because you find a bag. It
Yeah,
just has
that's what I
stuff in it
wondered.
that's either set aside or set on top of one of the bins.
Yeah.
We have the bins very marked, I feel very, very well or appropriately, so the people know where to put their stuff. But I did have to order some bigger bins. Phyllis and I talked about it, and Ken talked about it a few weeks ago, so we can try to get away from dumping them every 4 or 5 hours or every day. Because if you don't dump them right away, you have a mess on the ground. Just like the sheriff's department, we picked Shane up. We started picking Shane up about 3 months ago. It was 1 day a week when they first moved in. Now you can pretty much pick them up every day. But they're set on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, and it is what it is, when we pick it up. So I feel the program's going really well. We do have a tracker set up to where they can actually track the stops. When the driver pulls up, there's an iPad, he just touches the screen and it automatically GPSs the stop. We haven't done that for a few months, probably since about July actually, which we're getting ready to send that back out again. But the drivers are saying that they are picking up more. They are having more stops. For an example, Homestead only had 2 stops in the very beginning for months. You know, Anthony Wayne only had just 2 or 3 stops for months. The golf course, on the other hand, it's a whole other animal. You know, that golf course, you never get out of there. You can go out there first thing in the morning. You don't get out of there till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So there is, it is making a difference.
So has Anthony Wayne and those they picked up?
They're all picking up. They're all picking up as we go. The Monday's a huge route. Wednesday's a huge route. Friday can be at times. Tuesday and Thursday have always struggled, but Tuesday and Thursdays are getting better. I feel through more education, we're going to get there with the rest of them. You know, you need to average the 1,200 people, the 1,200 stops. We still have a few to go yet, but you know, not knowing exactly how many numbers are coming in at the drop-off side, I think
I know that
you're doing okay.
today at the solid waste board meeting, Hank said Jeremy's guys are keeping us busy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think Hank likes us.
And I know that our year-to-date, the solid waste district's year-to-date revenue generated from recycling is way up from last year now. Hank will sit there and argue with you possibly that that's just because cardboard is paying so much right now. But Hank says he's tracking it also, and at the end of this year, he'll be able to tell us.
When we go across the scales, it's just a little over 700 pounds on an average. We're out there 3 to 4 times on a Monday. 3 to 4 times.
There's no way they were bringing in that much. 3 to 4
times on a Wednesday, and every other day it's about a load and a half.
There's no way they were bringing in that much by people dropping it off out there or at those drop sites. I'm sorry, I just can't believe that they would be. So
come spend a week with us.
Oh no, yeah. Well, I mean in the past.
Yeah.
Back in years
past.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the ones I talked to have never done this before.
Yeah.
They've always just threw it in the trash and went on.
Yep.
I'd like to know at the end of the year how much we saved in dollars in trash.
That's going to be a little difficult to do because of the over the limits. You used to have that long list of over the limits. Now you only get a couple of them. So, and the guys, like on a Monday route, for an example, Monday routes start at West End Restaurant, kind of snake around from Nutman to Monroe, then head out to the golf course. When it comes back into the golf course, it goes Master Mix and Lewis, and then works itself back this way towards Monroe. We would just get to Master and be full.
In the trash portion?
Yes. Now we're getting all, on an average, probably all the way down Lewis. So we're adding 3 to 4 streets that we never used to be able to get on before on the first load. So there's a lot being taken out. At Christmas time last year, kind of ran a trial because the weather was decent. I had the guys run cardboard every day from December 1 to January 1. And we lost almost 30 ton at Christmas going to Jay County because of the cardboard. There's a ton of cardboard out there.
Mm-hmm.
You can pick up cardboard every day.
Mm-hmm. And it pays the best of anything that's recycled.
Nothing else is worth it.
Yeah.
But you got to pick it up.
Yep.
Jeremy, are we still door hanging when people put things out that we won't pick up?
Yeah, Melissa, we're just about ready for our new calendar, aren't we? Yeah. And we plan to, what's the plan on how to get that out this time?
We talked about doing it by mail and
That's right, yeah.
having them out in early December.
Yeah. Yeah, rather than put them in little green bags and hope that they get them, we were actually going to mail them. There was a program through the post office that was affordable, so.
So I think with the trailer, it would make ourselves lives a little bit easier, especially with the cardboard being able to...
Did you already have it budgeted? Do you need a motion or anything? You already got it covered?
I have money in the budget, but in order to be able to cut the check, I need your approval.
I approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same.
Thank you.
Is that on the sanitation?
Yes. There's equipment money in this year's budget.
Okay, when it was doing recycling, who's...
Ted and Terry Ashley is doing recycling. It's Terry's primary job. Ted was helping Terry. Right now, Terry's still doing it until we get his replacement hired. And then it's whoever. I think I did the final interview today. But then it's whoever we have available to go with them until we get the staff back to full force. We're out two right now with Ted being off, and then Mark Essler got injured about 3 weeks ago in the garbage truck, so so we're kind of scampering right now, but we're getting it done.
Next thing, how about something we haven't talked about in a little while, and that's 5 Points. I think our contract was approved by NDOT?
Yep. In order to enter into contract with American Structure Point, or to make it official that we're going to use American Structure Point, we have to have a signed contract with them. NDOT had to review the contract to make sure that it was, the terms were appropriate and so on and so forth. It's a boilerplate contract. They had Tim review it. Being boilerplate, there's just not hardly any room to change anything. So,
What is that, second?
5 Points.
we are eligible, which this was one of the unknowns, we are eligible for the federal aid to 80/20 program. When we were awarded the funds, we were only awarded construction dollars,
I don't know if they
which
do
is a
that,
good
just
thing.
5 Points intersection.
in a way.
What you're talking about.
Okay.
But working with NDOT, since we stayed on the federal aid program, once this contract is executed with you guys and NDOT, we will be eligible for the 80/20 match, which will draw our numbers down. So, for an example, in 18, 19, and 20, we will have to put aside, it's a little over $26,000 per year, average of the high side to $53,000. Once it gets into construction, and I will give you the firm numbers, Phyllis, tomorrow, but once we get to the construction in 2020, 2021, depending on how the properties, the right-of-way and stuff goes, you will need to budget about $450,000 someplace, or break that out over a couple of year period to meet your construction match when we come to construction in 2020, 2021. So far, I have budgeted this year's money, which obviously we haven't used. I budgeted next year's money, which we haven't used, so we're going to be pretty good for a couple of years. I will just come with a request to encumber that balance. But just looking forward, probably next year at budget time, we need to sit down and figure out, try and prorate this out over a couple of years as to how we're going to pay our construction.
At what juncture after we sign the contract will NDOT actually start
Putting us
the
in line.
process? I mean, the process like of the business relocation down there and all that?
Once we sign the contract, we'll have to send it to NDOT, to David Armstrong at Fort Wayne District. David will then process it through the central office in Indianapolis, and at that point, he will set aside 80% for the preliminary engineering. Once that money has been allocated for our DES number, which is our project number, then he will give us basically a notice to proceed. We will be able to give the notice to proceed to the American Structure Point, and then they will start all the engineering, all their studies and such. But you're probably, by the time you get to right away, probably the latter part of 18.
But they'll talk to the right-of-way people.
That they're actually, they're no relatively soon in the PE portion, but there's steps that you have to go by before you can actually get into the acquisition and such. So I would think this time next year, you should have a real good handle on where you're going to be at totally, the total project and the properties.
Yeah, the contract, I reviewed it. Basically, the compensation to American Structure Point for the engineering services is not to exceed $346,240. A lump sum of $280,800 would be owed for a number of the aspects of the scope of service, and then there's an additional $41,300 that deals with right-of-way engineering services. So they break it down in terms of different types of work. There's another amount that would not exceed $14,140 and another $10,000.
And when you actually get to the different areas, once we get out of the PE portion, there will be another contract. We will have to do the same thing because they went back instead of lumping them all in one contract. Once you complete one, then you do another one, and another, and another one. In the past, we've all lumped them together, and it's gotten rather confusing with the four-way district.
It's okay to make a motion now. I'll make a motion that we sign the contract for American Structure Point for engineering of the 5 points located at 2nd Street, the intersection of 2nd Street and Adams Street in Decatur on the south side.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you, that's that. The Park Board recently met. One of the things on their agenda that we've discussed in here and then ultimately went to the Park Board for them to actually draft, and I think Melissa helped Jeremy with this, and that is...
I have enough for everybody.
That is a contract on having alcohol at Riverside Center.
This has been routed around several times. We've had several eyes look at the contract itself. We've actually had Chris Everett from Decatur Package Liquor come in and actually sat down with us on all of the requirements for the alcohol and such. It's what they do for a living. You know, they do a lot of bartending stuff that just trying to figure out some different things on it. Make sure we had all our bases covered. It has went through the Park Board. Park Board made some very minor changes. A lot of it was just some wording and some numbers and such. So we're basically just going to give it back to you guys and see if you want some time to review, amend it.
First question I have is looking at that second page there. It talks about the fee, how much it is, whatever. How much is it to use the Riverside Center for a non-alcoholic?
They normally get right at $10 an hour to cover all the, you know, how much is it? To cover the employee, it's $10 per hour. Well, I can't think of it right offhand. It's $40 or $50, I think. It's not a lot.
Not a lot, okay.
It's not
So
a
the
lot.
fee for an event serving alcohol is $100 per hour with a 3-hour minimum, with a $200 deposit to reserve the date. Full payment must be made 7 business days before the event. This fee is in addition to the room rental fee, so they still have to pay the room rental fee. Bartending service, the event must use a bartending service to serve alcohol. An individual with an alcohol serving license does not constitute a bartending service. If you need assistance with finding a bartending service, contact Riverside Center and they'll recommend. They're attached the following documents to their application: copy of bartending service insurance with $1 million coverage, with the City of Decatur listed as an additional insured, and a copy of approved Indiana excise permit. Must have a police officer on duty per the attendance requirements listed below. It is the responsibility of the renter to secure the appropriate number of officers for your event. It's also the responsibility of the renter to pay the officers hourly fee of $50 per hour for your event. This fee is due when your rental balance is due. Officers on duty must be with the Adams County Sheriff's Department or Decatur Police Department. Officers must be paid directly by the renter. And you're saying 0 to 75 guests would have 1 police officer, anything more than that, 2 police officers. And that's essentially the agreement. The other page, is there a third page? Yeah, oh, there's more, okay.
The page that we went over today was the actual, or that we didn't have today when we went through that, the actual rental cost. And that, yeah, that wasn't attached to that for some reason. We just need to get it.
Would you like to have that?
I'm gonna bring it for advisement. I wanna read it.
Oh, yeah, I think we ought to look at it.
Okay. Craig, you just made a comment. Why don't you go ahead and make that public?
Yeah, I'd like to have an opportunity to read over it, take it under advisement,
Okay.
get back with you at the next Board of Works meeting.
Second, okay. I have a motion and a second to take this rental agreement with alcohol at an event under advisement. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Next meeting, we'll
That's
either
fine.
tweak it or pass it or whatever. So
That's fine. We just wanted to get it to you guys before we got...
Have you got an event already planned coming up? Okay.
Where did you come up with the $100 an hour and $200 minimum?
They went
Curious.
back through and looked up at what a lot of other places are charging.
Okay,
We didn't want to be dirt cheap, but we didn't want to be...
Exactly.
way over. So
Okay.
we're under due to the size of the building, but we're not too far off.
good.
we're cutting through this stuff, Jeremy.
Okay.
Jeremy also wanted to discuss East Monroe Street out in the area of the football field, Pickwa Road in the area between East Monroe Street and US 224, and Ogg Street.
Hey, Greg or Mike?
Jeremy brought to my attention that he would like to reduce the speed limit. Actually, I think this was brought about by Kevin Gerber when he was being the school resource officer. Reduce the speed limit to 20 miles an hour when children present in the area of East Monroe Street from Ogg Street to Anthony Wayne or Pickwa Road. On Pickwa Road from Pickwa to East Monroe to 224, and on Ogg Street.
The conversation actually started, Brent Lehman and Larry Carty had me come out probably a month and a half or so ago, and we sat down and they shared some of what their plans are for the campus and some of their concerns, being that they will have an increased number of pedestrians walking. One of their biggest concerns was Oak Street area, trying to eventually get a sidewalk or something, or a walking path put along Oak Street. Doing some little sidewalk extensions at a couple areas along Monroe Street that would line up with the school entrance. And then their biggest thing was some of the signage, and possibly extending the school zone.
I've got that in our ordinance.
Correct, but
From-
they want
from
to
all-
make it,
From Ogg Street.
They want to change
a day or so later, I was contacted by Officer Gerber. He must have had the same conversation with Brent Lehman. They want to add, or probably mark Ogg Street for the school zone. and actually tried to upgrade some of the signs to possibly the solar or something that we're still trying to kind of work some of those little issues out. Add Pickway Road if it's not already added. And it basically take Monroe Street out to the Pickway intersection. So, you know, a lot of the signs that you see up there now is 20 mile an hour when children are present. Is that still legit with the ball? Or you know,
Yes, yes.
different times you see that.
Once it's been
different places
established.
that you don't.
Once
So
it's
that-
been
that's
established,
what-
yeah.
Okay, okay.
Can you just do that by ordinance, Greg, or is that something that requires a kind of a
I
study?
can't advise you on that. I'd have to look in. I know speed limit you can lower 5 miles.
5 miles, but you're talking about lowering them 10.
Right. So anything over that has to be a study, I think,
Mhm.
done, and then recommendations made.
What do we have out there now, 20 when children are present, right?
20,
Well-
so you're just extending that distance, which you already have.
I've got it in our ordinance,
In a good portion of that.
yeah.
But like along Pickway Road.
We've never signed it.
Correct.
I mean,
Along-
put signs up so that clear to all, but
So what are you saying, we
But along
can't?
Pickway, I don't think we ever added along
I
Pickway,
think it goes clear to Pickway, but I don't think we've done Pickway.
where it comes around the corner. because
Exactly.
The county has a portion of that.
Right.
So,
And I think the only place the sign is at right about North Adams and East Monroe. isn't it?
just back just a little bit from there, yes.
And so if you're going to increase your area, I would have it someplace that's accessible from both ends.
Yeah, move it back to like Alg and then
Correct.
back towards the church.
Or towards Pickway. Yeah.
I'll try to measure between, what kind of 24 main intersection, right? Monroe Street extended.
Right.
So
Well,
that's
I think that was,
and
that
that's
was
already
my
20
question,
mile an hour.
Greg, if that was still legit.
And I get right around the school, but
So
there's
it
people
is
walking
posted
there
there.
right now. I guarantee.
Well, I mean, you have to take a sign, give them what it says, when children are present. I don't even honestly think it says during school hours unless it's posted as through school hours. If you have any children present in that area, that would be an argument for,
Isn't it downtown?
Middle school?
The entrance of the middle school is city.
And other areas, I think, other parts of the state have sometimes on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the way I take it. Now, do I do it literally, or do our officers do it literally? Probably not.
So I guess think about this a little bit and see what you, kind of give me your thoughts. And we'll go back through the ordinance and see exactly what needs to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that.
Okay, so what are you wanting then, is to drop it? What are you asking?
Their request is to extend the 20 mile an hour school zone area from, well, Bill had covered part of it already, but on Old Street and then around the corner on Pickway.
And
Okay.
I don't think I have Alg
No.
itself, but we did extend from Alg to Pickway Road as school.
But around the corner.
But around-
at the
no,
middle
down
school.
Pickway
Instead of
Road.
the one that
No.
we were discussing.
Exactly.
Hog Street, Pickway Road, and then Monroe Street extended?
Monroe Street Extended's already there, it just,
Okay.
it will need to be re-signed and basically removed, but, the addition would be the Old Street, and then Pickway Road, basically from Monroe Street to
224.
going north.
To 224 to the middle school?
Probably to 224.
But then didn't you get into county there?
That way, we would have to discuss that with Mr. Caffey.
Okay.
At about, where are we at the city, about at the entrance?
The bridge.
That's Bridge.
What's that about?
Well, back this way.
Wendell Beard?
We don't have Wendell.
Right in there.
Wendell's not in our city.
Yeah, I'll have to look at the statute
There's a
because there
couple
may be a
houses.
limitation on how far you can go
There may be.
Pass an entrance to the
past
school?
Exactly.
There may be,
Yeah, so,
and I don't know.
So what is it now? Is it 30 or 20 at
30.
during school?
It's 30 and then 20 with children present.
Okay. And we want to make it,
And that is something that we could research, though, to find out whether that is only during school hours or whether it's at any time of day.
well, when it says children present,
Okay.
that could be sporting events or anything, right?
Correct.
So are you talking,
Neighborhood kids walking through.
because this makes a difference, are you talking about just extending a school zone so that it's 20 when children are present, or are you talking about reducing it from 30 to 20 period?
Just when children are present, just extending.
So you're extending the school zone.
Actual school zone itself.
So then the issue is, can we? Because there may be some limitations on how far down the road from a school entrance you can extend the school zone.
In answer to Scott's question too, I think when you have those signs up, I think the intent of those signs is to make awareness for drivers, just like the speed limit signs are too. It is for enforcement, and we need those as a tool for enforcement. But I think the main issue or the intent of those signs is to notify people that
Awareness.
there or under there or under. So.
And the other request was just to kind of work on some of the pavement markings and such for the crossings, which we will be in 18, and looking at some little fancier signs for some of those crossings.
Are we gonna mark coming out of Monroe, going into Monroe off of the highway there at the intersection? Where that
Peanut Island is?
car dealership, car repair place is.
The transmission shop?
Transmission shop. Taking a right off of there, going on east on Monroe. Are we gonna put an arrow on that?
Have you been out there yet, Bill?
Yeah, I saw two trucks today while I was out there. It actually got in the left-hand lane to go left.
There is no left-hand lane.
You talking about on the yellow stripes?
They got in the lane when you come off of Monroe.
They were in the wrong lane.
Exactly.
They were around the corner, they hit the truck.
They were making a one-way road.
Exactly.
If there's no arrows,
Right.
no.
I think we need an arrow straight to go to,
Oh, it'd be going east.
East
in
on
that-
the- Going
east in that lane.
and then the other lane should have an arrow.
We need the name of that engineer that
No,
drove
but
it.
there isn't. It's only one lane.
Well, you can go left or right.
What he's saying is, when you reach the point of that
That's my
painted island,
Yeah.
they're
We need
thinking
the
they
name of
can
the
go
engineer
either
to do
way.
that.
Yeah.
Well, they used...
Demand that they keep it that way.
the eastbound.
It's
They used the eastbound.
Now it's kind of like
Correct.
where they put
To
those
turn left to go west.
The other end, it picked way
I just noticed that today, so.
You know what, I mean,
Right, he replaced it.
I'm all for it.
I think if you put arrows, you're going to confuse people more. I mean, it's only one lane.
Goes down, they put it back.
No, I mean, I understand where he's coming from, and I'm all for putting whatever down it takes to make people see the difference. But I just think somebody just plain not paying attention.
Well, it's only been
And you're gonna have...
3-4 days since the road opened. Let's give it some time, talk about this later.
You know, to me, it's, at this point in time, it's no different than the stop sign being there, and we already had one,
Yep,
stopping
and today Jeremy had and what was that you forwarded to Jerry Crothers about the stop sign or the...
Or it picked
Oh,
wrong.
yeah.
Okay,
Complaint.
okay.
But we get a lot of those.
So anyhow, back to the speed limit thing, do we want to just look at the ordinance how it is now?
We'll look at it and I'll bring you an
Okay.
actual
All right.
request, so.
One last thing for Jeremy, and then I have one last little thing, and then,
Am I good?
I think we've talked in here just briefly about it a little bit, and that was the possibility of extending Bowman Street, going over to High Street, and then also connecting it to Winchester Street on the west end. And you have had Brett Miller survey the area that connects to High Street, so that we would know how much easement we would need to purchase from landowners, correct?
You're less than an acre on the west side, or the west end of it, which those property owners are willing to work with us. You know, we haven't discussed cost or anything, or donation. But yeah, they have the Wolbert family had contacted me and said that they would be interested.
So before Jeremy does any more work in looking into this, I'd kind of like everyone's opinion on extending Bowman Street and if you think it's a worthwhile endeavor.
Great idea. Can we afford it?
The challenge that you're going to get into is on the Winchester end.
Trying to tie it in.
Due to potentially the one property owner, the other property owner, I'm not 100% sure what he's going to want to do with the property, if he's actually going to want to parcel it off, or if we're going to end up having to buy the whole.
So what would you like? Would you like this the okay to discuss this with?
What we need to do is we need to have the Ken and I need to have the authorization to discuss this with property owners and kind of feel them out and see what their intentions are. Possibly get the hospital to also weigh in on it. Several years ago when Ed Ford was the EMS director, when Ed was still alive, he did discuss this with me a few times, but it never really got off the ground, and then Ed had passed away. I know it's a real hindrance to the EMS personnel to access that part of the city, because now they're having to come all the way down to Grant Street, the line to Elm to get to like Tri-County dialysis and some of those on 13th Street, so I know it would help them out immensely. I think it's a connection that makes sense for us for water and sewer improvements. We do have some water and sewer problems in that area that are going to need to be addressed, but a lot of these can be thrown into one project.
Okay.
You need a motion for permission to discuss?
Yep.
Motion for permission to discuss with property owner.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It was the same, thank you. The only other thing I had, and we'll adjourn, get 5 minutes before we start back up, is to announce that at the redevelopment commission meeting, when was that, Tim? A couple weeks ago, a week and a half ago. The redevelopment board did authorize me to work with the Logan brothers on purchasing the building down here at the intersection of the alley and Madison Street, and we have come to an agreement. So the redevelopment commission will be buying that building for us to convert. So that's all I have. Did anybody else have anything before we adjourn? Start the next meeting?
Did you already give it to the council there?
It's not a matter that goes before council. It's redevelopment.
Good. I'm just making that a matter of record, basically. That's all I have. If nothing else, look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Board of Works meeting's adjourned.
Yeah, man.